ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
It's been 4 long months, but finally the WSL is back. Welcome to the VAW podcast. And yes, it's me, Adam Salter. I'm back in the hosting chair. Again, it's been 4 long months since I've been given full control. So I solemnly swear that I will not abuse this power, but we'll see how the pod goes. But don't worry, my co-conspirators are on hand to keep me well in line, and that are the lovely Lottie and the magnificent Matt in his hat. Lottie, welcome back to the WSL season.
Thank you. You're a poet and you didn't know it. Very well done, sir. I thought I was hearing a Harry Potter quote then. I was like,
it was a Harry Potter reference. I'm glad you spotted it.
Oh, you're sitting on a panel full of Harry Potter nerds, so we're not going to catch that, are we, Matt?
No, not at all.
Matt, welcome back.
Yeah, it's always good to be back. How's the hosting chair? I hope it was nice and warm for you.
Yes, you've kept it in good nick, so I'm very grateful for that. As usual, we before we go into the whole WSL preview, because we've got a lot to get through, to get us all warmed up and ready, a nice cool icebreaker. Now, those of you may have noticed the trend of Barclays men on the Twitter sphere, montages of streets of never forget players. So I want you to tell me your Barclays women. What would Barclays WSL legendary player would you love to see a montage of? Going back through the years, there's quite a few. So I'll go to you first, Matt. Who do you think deserves a good shout out from the past? Doesn't have to be an Arsenal player. It could be anyone. You know, journeyman player, journeywoman players rather.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. It's so difficult to choose because obviously there's been so many players that have had to swap because of their allegiances. I think I'm going to give a shout out to Danielle Carter because of how well she's done. She can look back at her Arsenal career and unfortunately sort of ended on a low, but scoring that goal against Chelsea in the FA Cup final, she had some really good moments. Even now she's scoring goals and she's just having a lot of fun. Now she's at London City Lionesses, so we may see her in the league again soon.
Yes, indeed. Lottie, what player? I could probably maybe guess it, but you go first and see what you go for.
No, I'd like you to guess because I know exactly who I'm picking. So
is it Rachel Yankee?
Oh, for goodness sake!
Is it?
What's the point?
Who else was it going to be?
What do you mean? Who else is going to be? Rude. Actually, rude.
Was it Rachel Yankee?
Yes, it was. It was just again my absolute hero. She was the name that you heard when you were growing up alongside Kelly Smith. I'd actually put the pair of them together. Just for that duo. If we're talking about current players, I'd give it to Kimmy Little all day long. All day long.
I'm going to go for a non-Arsenal player because it's a player that maybe as underrated but scored a lot of crucial goals. But actually I've got two. I'm going to actually last minute change. I'm going to go for Jess Clark. Jess Clark, I remember watching her at the 2011 World Cup, scored a goal there, played for Notts County and scored a lot. Every time Notts County played Arsenal, Jess Clark almost always scored a goal against us. And sadly, she was Notts County folded, as we all know, and I think Jess Clark ended up at Liverpool in the end. I do wonder if she was playing in the modern day game now, she'd probably get a bit more notoriety. But I also did want to have a shout out to Remy Allen as well, who again scored a lot of crucial goals, journeyed around a lot of the teams, famously helped knock Arsenal out of the Champions League at Birmingham City. But Jess Clark would be my shout. Speaking of players, that's where we are going to start. As we know, the transfer window has been a hive of activity. So there is one more player that went on the journey, and that was Michelle Adjumang. She has departed the mighty Arsenal to go to the beautiful Brighton. Matt, thoughts on this one as our transfer guy?
This one makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. The fact that Brighton have lost Hurland, so looking to fill that void of goals, and Michel Agerman has a point to prove. For those that were wondering, Adam was just taking a bit of a drink on the audio. But Michel Agerman is just looking for a point to prove. She's got a season on loan. She's got a contract that's fairly long at Arsenal. Let's leave it there. As far as we know, I should say, because we don't know for definite, we always don't know what the details of these contracts because we're not allowed anyone near that sort of information. And of course, the clubs like to keep it private unless they say, oh, they're there to stay, like PSG and Lyon, for example. They like to announce when their players are staying on. I think Michelle's going to find it quite easy. I wouldn't be surprised if she's up there as one of the, I'll probably say she'll probably be one of their top goal scorers this season, if I'm honest.
Lottie, thoughts on Michelle leaving Arsenal this season? Do you think she'll do well there, and do you think we've still got enough to attack without her?
I do think she'll do really well there. I do think she's going to score against the Arsenal.
Well, she always
that's when she goes on loan. You can write that down as well.
She won't be allowed to because she'll be ineligible. WSL rules.
Actually, that's handy. I like that rule. I forgot about that rule. But yeah, no, I think for me it'd be really good for her. Should be alongside Frank Kirby and a few others, and it's going to get really interesting. I'm just looking at their ins. Their ins are really scary because there's actually depth to this Brighton squad now.
Yeah,
a lot of it. There is a lot of frees in there. They've got Rachel McLaughlin from Rangers. They've picked up a couple of players from FC20, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. They've actually bought someone from Chelsea as well, which was interesting.
Well, Frank Kirby has gone over there as well, and we believe Nikita Paris is on her way there at time of recording. So yes, brilliant Brighton. And say brilliant Brighton have done we think a really good transfer window. We thought they did a good transfer window last window, and didn't really, the season didn't go the way they'd hoped. But again, experience and talents in there. If they can work something out, get the balance right, that's obviously the trick, isn't it? You can have all the ingredients, but you can't, they don't make a magical chocolate pie out of nothing. You've got to make it happen, and that will be the big challenge for Brighton this season. On the flip side, one player that didn't depart, I would say, is Katie Reid. She is staying at Arsenal and is looking to stay until January at least, so hopefully we'll see her maybe in the WSL. I can't wait. I think it's going to could be her breakout season. We wait to see how that goes. One transfer that didn't happen is Kira Walsh. Well, I say didn't happen. Time of recording, 8:30 on a Friday. That transfer has not happened, and there's no information as we speak that it will happen. Of course, phones are on standby on that one. Latest news was that Arsenal did actually put in a record bid for Kira Walsh, and it was turned down. Kira Walsh, all the noise coming from the Barcelona camp is that she has no intention of staying at Barcelona beyond her end of the contract next summer, so can go on the Bosman. As like when we obviously picked up Russo. Lottie, is this a good move to maybe hold out for a free Walsh next summer, or should we have really gone to town on the transfer bid?
The thing is, we gave them the according to, is it Zaza?
Maria Tikas.
Tikas, that's it. Sorry, there's someone else as well.
Yeah,
that I get confused with all the time. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind having her for free because that's a bargain. And as we all know, Barcelona are broke, so I think they've missed a trick there. If I'm honest with you, with the latest tweet saying that we made a record bid for her. So yeah, I'd have her in a free. Absolutely.
The only issue, obviously, Matt, is that there's a risk that Chelsea could sneak in because we know that they've got an interest in Walsh as well, and we could lose. And then if that happens, we've got no control over it at all.
I think that's going to be down to Kira to decide where she goes. There's going to be a lot of a pull between both clubs because you've got different lionesses in the camp. You've got, some of them have stayed there, some of them haven't, some of them have gone away. The likes of Jess Carter and Frank Kirby, for example. For Chelsea, Arsenal have still got their lionesses. Leah Williamson, obviously. Leslie Russo's coming on a free. Arsenal do like a free transfer, that's for sure. There's not. I think especially
when it's a star.
Yeah, you've got got that point straight away, Lottie, is that essentially a key player has come in and it's a free transfer. We haven't had to pay for them.
Yeah.
Even if we have paid for them, for example, Kyra Cross, Rosa Kafai as well, they've done the business and they've done really well. At least Arsenal are looking at it and saying, look, here's the money, here's the interest. We're here. If we have to play the waiting game, we're happy to do that. And that has to say, like, huge congrats to the Arsenal team behind it, because it's just not just Claire Wheatley, it's not just Edu, it's not just the manager. They're all getting involved and they're all making sure that in the next, whether or not they'll do something in January, but if they can't do anything in January, they'll move into the summer, and they've got this list ready and waiting. You see it all the time, and that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on for sure.
I think the key word you mentioned there is interest. I think this is a declaration of interest by Arsenal. They can't go in and do backdoor shenanigans with agents and talking and stuff, and there are officials to follow. But if you make a bid of that size, a bit like when Arsenal did with Russo in that January window, where they went big on the transfer and it didn't happen, but they were basically telling the Russo camp, we really want you and this is how much we want you. I think it's a smart move by Arsenal. They probably made that bid knowing it would be rejected, but the Walsh camp know now Arsenal really want her in their team. I would say at the moment the midfield there's quite a lot of numbers in there. I'd say if Walsh was to come in, someone else would have to go out.
Yeah, but I'm fearing the worst this season.
Well,
There's
we won't talk.
Particular player, we're waiting for it, but nobody wants to talk about it. Even I don't want to talk about it, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so
we all know.
Possibility. That's why she's coming in.
Yeah, we all know Cara Cooney-Cross is a very popular midfielder in the team, and we would love her to stay for many more years.
Not Kyra.
Oh well,
I'm talking about our captain. You silly.
I know. We'll move therefore on to.
I know you know, because I know.
Actually, we'll move on to yourself, Lottie, because obviously me and Matt have discussed the transfer window in depth, but I know you like to stay well away of such things and wait till it's all blown over. So your view on our transfer window as a whole, a few new arrivals and quite a few departures. Any thoughts in general overall how we've done this season, this summer rather?
Oh well, the howler is obviously Viviana Miedema. That is just a howler. I'm kind of over it now. I'm a bit disappointed we lost Chloe Lacasse, but I completely understand why. The rest I'm not too majorly fussed about, if I'm honest with you. Like Taya needs minutes. Gio, it wasn't the right fit. Sabs, she wants to be a number one. She wasn't going to get ahead of Manu. Same with Kaylin, which is fair enough. In terms of coming in, Mariona Cardente, someone who's won it all, getting her on a free is just unbelievable. Again, taking BK Harkin's main woman over there, Rosa Kavaji. Can't wait to see her play. And then I think Sophie Harwood. What can you tell me, Matt?
She's one of those players that I think that is going to be one for the future again. She is a regular with the I'm thinking it's going to be the under-19s, but it might be the under-21s. It's just one of those that you're going to look forward in the future, and you'll see, yeah, this is a brilliant player going forward. And I think it's a great buy as well. It's nice to see that the academy is getting a little bit of love as well in the transfer window as well.
No, definitely. Last but not least is Daphne Van Dosler. I'm excited because the last few keepers that have come in, Manu has improved dramatically. Daphne, I know Leo's probably listened to this. I'm sorry for butchering her name.
Just call it DVD. Just say DVD and you'll be fine.
Okay, fine. DVD Mark II. Okay. Yeah. With DVD, she brings something slightly different to what Sabs and what Kaylin had, and it's a question if she's going to challenge Manu for that number one shirt, and that's what I want to see. And she needs someone that can push her, and I think DVD Mark II was probably the one to do it.
I agree. I'm really looking forward to seeing DVD play. I've said on the previous pods we've done, and see her play Aston Villa, and she looked pretty competent, pretty strong between the sticks. So fingers crossed. She's injured at the moment, so fingers crossed she gets fully back to fit, and we get to see her play soon. What competition that will be remains to be seen. Also, obviously, got the BK Häcken ties coming up. Got to get through those. We want to avoid that Conti Cup group stage, or League Cup group stage, as we should say now. So yes, how that pans out. We're sticking with the players. I've asked the pair of you to do a bit of pre-pod homework. So we'll go with you, Lottie, first. I've put together 3 criteria for a player for you to choose. One is one that you are maybe have concerns over going into the new season, which I think is fair enough. I can think of a few players that might be the case. The player that you think will surprise us all this season, and the one player you're most excited about seeing play for Arsenal. I'm hoping we can try and get some different player names all round, but I can understand there might be some duplicates. So Lottie, we'll start with your concern. Which player needs to step up a bit?
Everybody knows already, I think, Caitlin Ford. She scored the first goal of the season last season, and that was it. I know she's already got 4 under her belt, but
well, this is the thing.
her consistency is the question mark for me. But I think with Mariona Caldente coming in, that will release her onto the right-hand side. But then you raise question marks about Beth Mead as well at the same time. So we'll see what happens there.
My pick is Katrine Molekul, because I'm looking at the team. Kyra looks like she's become the 3rd player in circulation between Kim Little and Leah Velty now that Palova's injured, out for the season. And I'm just wondering, where is Kyra going to fit in that midfield? Is she going to get the game time? Katrine.
You just said Kyra.
Got Kyra, Katrina. There's too many. Yeah, we're too many L's in the team with too many layers, and now we've got too many K's floating around as well. Yes, where Katrine Molekul will fit in the team in the long term, because it's going to be. I think Kyra's got the edge at the moment in terms of the first team. She's played quite well in those 2 Champions League qualifiers against Rangers and Rosenborg. I think Molekul, it's going to be hard for her to get into the team. And I worry about her if she doesn't get into the team come January, shall we say. I think the writing's probably on the wall by then. It's probably then alone, and then obviously in the summer, which is a shame because she is a very talented player, but it's all of a sudden become very congested in that team. So I hope she can break into a team, and if she does get into the team, I hope she can then showcase why she should be in the team. Matt, which player do you have worries over?
Well, the players that you've mentioned aren't on mine, so
good.
I'll go with my first one. Yeah, the only reason I've said that it's more of a concern really is because of they're coming back from injuries, and that's Lotte Wickham-Moy and Leo Velty. Just that, can they get back up to speed? Can they go beyond what they did over the last season or past seasons? Can they improve a little bit? I'm hoping that there's not going to be no niggles, but during the season it always ends up happening to Leah. At some point she ends up getting a niggle, she ends up playing through it because there's not a lot of central midfielders. That's now passed with both Kyra and Katrine. We could have also said Victoria, but unfortunately Victoria's got an ACL. So it's just one of those where you look at and say, okay, you've got 2 excellent central midfielders, but if say 3 of them become unavailable for whatever reason, then you've all of a sudden a bit light. So it is a bit of a concern for me in that midfield area.
You raised a good point on Lotte, actually, which I didn't think about, but she obviously won Player of the Season with the Supporters Club, and I think with the club as well. An amazing season last season. Just when our defence was all over the place with a lot of players coming in and out, she was sort of like constant, and she really upped her game. But we all know the Player of the Season curse, which is if you have a really good season, the next season, I think the problem is it's always limited. Maybe you go back to your base level, but it always feels like you have a stinker. And I think back to Frida last season as well, wasn't as good as she was the previous season. And my worry is with Lottie.
I blame Risa for that one though.
Well, I think that can only stretch for so many games into the season. Lottie, whether she can get back into the team, which she's coming in injured, that doesn't help her, but whether she can hit that same level she had last season when she was our best defender. Lottie, so that's a good one to think about. Surprise, who's your surprise of a season, Lottie?
I've gone for Leia Cordina.
That's annoying because that's the one I'm going to go for as well.
I've gone for Leia. I've been really impressed with her recently, and I think she's going to sneak in ahead of Lotte at the minute. As Matt said, she's coming back from injury, and I think like that spot is up for grabs to be partnered up with Leah Williamson. I know she was at like some people have seen her and she's come in like just to back up Leah, but there's no way Leah Williamson's not starting. The only rotation, there will be rotation of her because obviously she's still recovering from her previous injury. But she seems fine in herself just watching her play. But I think Leah Cardina and Leah Williamson partnership is on for this season, I think.
Absolutely, and I would try and pick an alternative, but I pretty much with Cardina, I've been nailing my colours to the mast on this one for the last few days, and ever since the Champions League qualifiers, I was so impressed watching her at the back.
Exactly.
Very, very aggressive at the back, and but also able to use that high line as well, and burst through the team as well. Got two good goals against Southampton as well. There was a really interesting moment in I think it was the Rosenborg game. Rosenborg had a counter, and it stuck with me because it was right in front of me. I was in the East Stand. Rosenborg ran into the channel, and obviously it was Cardina's side of the fence, so she ran over as well. And there was a moment I was watching Leah also make the run as well, and you could see it was a classic case of a striker drawing two defenders over, and then Leah sort of caught herself and backed off, which is what you want. You don't want two players run over because then you've got the second runners free. And for me, that shows an element of trust. You need to make sure you've got a centre-back pairing where the two trust each other to get the job done. And in that instance, Lai did get the job done. She's spoken before about having to settle in. I think we can say she struggled in the first half of last season. Second half of the season was a lot better. And she started this season well enough to keep Lotta out the side. So, yeah, I think she is going to step up this season, and I'm really excited for that one. But as a side shout, I will also say Katie Reid. I think she's going to be the burst onto the scene player next season. And I fear I may have taken Matt's one as well.
No, you haven't, actually.
No.
Who have you gone for?
I've actually gone for Katrine Kuhl. I think that she is going to end up playing the attacking midfielder role a little bit more this season. I think originally I thought we were going to see Kafai in that attacking midfield role on the wing, and the same with Caldente. So there was going to be a switch, and then Katrine Kuhl would be the player that's be the attacking midfielder. Not to be selfish, but I have plugged like Katrine Kuhl through the Gunners online, Gunner fanzine online.
Yep.
I did a little bit on her, but again, because that two pivot, there's again 3-4 players there vying for the same position. I think we'll see Katrine Kuhl opt to adapt to a new position so that she's more versatile, and we'll see more of her further forward.
Well, you had the luxury of watching her quite a bit last season as well. Obviously, she was up at Everton, and you got to see her. I think she had a really good loan spell at Everton, so hopefully they can take that into the season with Arsenal. Player you're most excited about watching, Lottie? I think we can probably guess which one you're going to go for, but
you might as well. Go on.
Is it Rosa Kafaji?
No, it's not. How do you feel? How do you feel? You silly.
I feel stupid, but go on then. Okay, what is it then? Who is it?
Oh, it's got to be Mariona Caldente. I can watch that girl play football for hours. But I actually had both their names down just in case you were going to guess one of them. So you were half right and half wrong.
Yeah.
It's a tie between the pair of them, because I think Rosa, I haven't watched enough of her. But when you've seen enough of what she's done at Harken, it's like, okay, well, we've got a player here on our hands. When you look back at these, was the goal that she assisted for Russo?
Washington Spirit.
Yeah. That's the one. I was about to say Chelsea. I'm glad I didn't say because we lost that game.
Yes.
But yeah, no, you look at that and it's like, I want to see more of that in the league. Will that work in the league? Because it's one thing to play a team that are in mid-season over there, but bringing it back to English turf is a very different story. So very excited. Again, Mariona Caldente's name speaks for herself.
Yeah. Yeah, Mariona was my.
I enjoyed watching her the last couple of games at Meadow Park. I've loved every minute of it.
Yep, and I've enjoyed her chant as well. It's been the song of the summer, and hopefully we get a chance to sing a bit more. Mariona was my pick, just for obvious reasons. Just it's so good to see a left side of attack that actually looks threatening. Obviously, there's a risk of over-indexing just the first two competitive games of the season. Many more games to come, and we'll need Mariona's influence.
We would say it's only 2 games, competitive games, but the level of experience she's had in the Champions League,
absolutely,
exactly what we need.
But my other shout, as you say, Rosa Kavaji. We've not seen much of her at Arsenal. She hasn't played a full 90 minutes yet for Arsenal, but the glimpses that we've seen shows great promise. But certainly, Mariona is my one for me. I just think, coming in from Barcelona, if she can bring the Catalonia magic to the red half of North London.
We've seen it. We've seen it in Champions League football.
Absolutely. Matt, who's your player you're most excited about seeing?
Oddly enough, I haven't gone for either of those. I think I'm going to be honest and say this is another player that I'm going to need to see live. I can't sit and watch him on TV because there's more of it. It's very similar to Kimmy Little. You need to see him live to get to really know the player a little bit more, and you get to see, there's that magic that I didn't really see and don't really get until you actually see them properly for the first time. You're smirking, Lottie. Because you go,
I think I know who it is. I'm just waiting for you to say their name because you said some interesting things about this person last season. So go ahead.
I'm going with Alessia Russo.
Oh, I like your thinking, good sir.
I think it's about how she's going to connect with both Rosa and Mariona. Can she get that link up and getting ready to get? She did really well with Steen last season when she was playing as attacking midfielder. And I talked about when she played against Everton that she was constantly talking about Stina letting her know that she was behind her when they were doing the press and things like that. Things like that are very important. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of Alessia's game in the box a little bit more than she is, say, outside of it than she was last season. I think it was a lot of our frustration that although she did score the goals, she wasn't in the box as much as we'd like.
No, and she's staying more in the box this time around. And I think certainly towards the end of the season, her conversion rate was a lot better, and she got 2 good goals against Washington Spirit and again against Rangers. I think it's a fair shout. I mean, I did a very controversial hot take on how I saw Russo's season last season. My feeling's always been this is the one. She builds upon last season, plays even better, then will be in a much better position with the strike force. Speaking of past seasons, just going to run some stats past you. Obviously, last time Arsenal won the league was in 2018-19, where we got 54 points. That was a 20-game season. Obviously, we're in 22 games now. Since the last 4 seasons, we'll skip the 20 season because that got cut short, so you can't really draw anything mathematically from that. The winning total from 2021 onwards has been 57, 56, 58, and then last season was 55. So in the current setup, you need around between 55 to 60 points to win the WSL, basically. Arsenal, by comparison, 48, 55, 47, 50. So we've been very undercooked on that bit. We've been more below 50 and not enough above it. So with that in mind, what do you think the winning points total will be for the WSL this season? Will be? Lottie, I'll go to you first.
Sorry, who?
Lottie.
The points.
I said Lottie.
No, you said Lotta. I'm gonna go with 57.
Okay, Matt.
I have gone with a lower number actually because last season we had a bit of a difficult one because there was, for the first time, you lose 3 games and you won the league. So I think that something similar might happen. I've actually gone for 53 points.
Wow. Okay, that's quite the shout. Do you think that the winner will lose more than 3 games again?
I think so. Yes, I think the league has actually strengthened a lot more, especially with the incomings that have happened just over the last 20 hours or so. We're nearly at 11 o'clock at the moment, so I imagine there might be a few more surprises. But I think the league has actually really strengthened. They've managed to get some really talented players through the doors. Every single club. I think if we were to do like a transfer window and say, I hate saying like who won the window, but I think you could probably make a case for about 3 or 4 different clubs.
Just a bit of breaking news. Emma Sanders has just announced that West Ham, Aston Villa, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal have all finished their business for the day at time recording. So our squads and Chelsea, well, all their squads are as they are going into the season. So yes, no Kira Walsh clearly. But no, as you say, Matt, you think it's going to be a lower score because of the new incomings that have come in. And you're right. I mean, we mentioned Brighton; they have strengthened considerably, and I think West Ham have brought in quite a few new players as well. Aston Villa, I think, announced a new midfielder earlier today as well. So, yes, the lower order
you
are closing
referring to
in.
Gabby Nunes from Levante?
I might well be referring to Gabby Nunes from Levante. Is she in your fantasy team, perchance, Lottie?
No, she's not available on the app yet. I've actually settled my team. I haven't touched it in a week. So
Okay.
I am good to go, and I've got everybody I need, including the big goal scorers. So I'm excited.
Excellent. I think it's going to... I could be drawn in by that, but the lower score, but I'm going to go 56 as my winning total. For me, if you win the league, you need to get between 55 and 60 points, and I think that will stay true even now. Although we were close last time around with 55. So with that in mind, quite simply, who's going to win the league this season, chaps? Matt?
I'm going to go for a really bad one, go Man City.
Okay. Lottie?
Do you want me to explain, or?
We'll go around first, and then I'll get you explain it. So, Lottie, who are you picking?
I'm going to go pick Chelsea.
I'm going to pick Manchester City as well. And I think it's interesting that none of us have picked Arsenal. None of us have backed our own horse to win this one, which I'm sort of happy with. I can't back Arsenal to win the league because I can't do it. I don't have the... Yeah. So, Matt, why Manchester City?
Well, recruitment-wise, they've done fairly well, and I think they've got a real game changer with Viv coming on. I think that was probably you look at the mindset whenever they face certain teams, they sort of fall apart. I mean, had they have a player of Viv's caliber against, say, Chelsea, when they're 9 players down, they don't concede in the last minute. They win 2-1. That's in their own home yard, and that gives them the title. It was that simple, really. Is they just needed someone to help them get them along the line, and I think that attacking with all that they've got, essentially they've got a front four, and if Chilwell comes back at some point, it could essentially say a front 5, and then Yui's going to have to defend by herself. So that might be the only way that that's Yui Hasegawa, by the way, if people are wondering. That might be the only way to expose them, is that by giving them the overconfidence of going and attack, and then you just draw them in and go, okay, just quick 1-2s, and off you go and score, get those goals in. So I'm quite interested in that. I think what's also interesting is that City have also brought in another backup goalkeeper who they had on loan last season. She didn't get any game time, but they brought it back. So again, I'd be interested to see how that goes, considering the fact that Sandy McIver's also there, a backup already for Man City. So I'm interested to see how it goes, but it just puts me on the knife edge.
The firepower they possess is incredible, but the trick for Gareth Taylor is obviously rotation and how he's going to integrate. Because the Bunny Shaw, Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp front three is so settled in and the three of them work so well together. You're now throwing an extra forward in there. If they gel, if they somehow get the 4 to work, or he's able to rotate them out and use Viv, and Viv shines, she overcomes the injury nightmare she's had for the last 2 seasons, and gives the league pre 2021, I'd say, Viv, then they're going to be laughing. I think it's the key of how quickly they connect, and if they can find that synergy. And you mentioned Jill Roord coming back. I mean, she was doing pretty well at Man City before the ACL, and they've got Mary Fowler as well, another talented attacker in there. So they are quite stacked in attack, and that's but I think, you mentioned it's going to be about the balance, isn't it? You said Yuri Hasegawa could be on her own. I mean, she's an incredible defensive midfielder, just runs the midfield. But if she's on her own in that midfield, that's going to be problematic. Lottie, you have backed the Blues this one, the blue half of London.
And I've sat there and thought about it and thinking, that's not the right answer, especially with Vivian Media at City, I should say.
Oh, okay. So
I am gonna back City as well. I'm sorry. I thought about it and I'm thinking, Emma Hayes is not real. Like, don't have to look at her face ever again until she comes over here to Wembley for the USA game. But yeah, no, I think C. It's just a bit of a scary firepower at this point.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling a certain player is going to be on a revenge season after what happened last summer. So yeah, I'm worried.
The thing is, I think it's the big fear is Vivian Miedemar's gone to Manchester City. I think that's the big. And I think the problem is if Manchester City win the league and Vivian Miedemar's key to that, I mean, I just worry about the discourse among the fan base. I mean, I for one,
the discourse it's already there. What are you talking about?
But it's going to be like it's going to be like tenfold. It's going to be like it's a fire at the moment. It's going to be a blaze. You know, it's going to be a.
What did we talk about on the last pod when we were at Meadow Park?
Yeah.
The chance.
No, they read out Jonas Idaval's name.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, the silence. No, I'm just imagining like any scene you see in a movie is like a mob and like the pitchforks around and everything. I think if you were to make a case for Chelsea, I think you could say that they brought in players that are either new and exciting or experienced in Lucy Bronze.
Yeah.
The only problem is that they've overstacked, and again, when you overstack like they do.
But thing is, we don't know what it's
Bompasta.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to make sure I pronounce that correct. We don't know what she's got in her locker at the minute. She's used to a league where one team wins the league all the time. She's now coming in to a very much.
Well, Chelsea win the league all the time. I mean, it's
not but it's a very much changed league. If you look at the recruitment across the teams, even West Ham have actually recruited.
Yeah.
And you look at it all and go, okay, this is going to be a bit more challenging. It's not going to be the easy breeze. Long gone are the days where we battered Tottenham, for example. They're gone.
Yeah.
Don't ever think they're coming back. You're looking at 1-0, 2-0's done. Like with their signings, I mean, bringing in Haley Rasso. You sit there and think, why? Like I know we've got our 3 Australians, but now they're doing the same thing. Do your own thing. Find someone else.
On the topic of Chelsea, I don't think they're going to win the WSL, and I think Bombasta might be in the WSL, might be a bit of a adjustments. There might be a few weird results, but can you make the case that Chelsea win the Champions League this season?
I think our silence speaks volumes.
Because I think if Arsenal don't
say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. No.
I'm going to say it.
Don't say it.
No, I can say it now. Now that Emma Hayes is gone, she's out the picture. I think Chelsea are all going to win the Champions League at some point, and I think this is the season they're going to do it. And I think that will hurt. However, I will doing this as a reverse jinx, because then I hope that when they do go out, I can laugh even harder. But that's my. I don't think Arsenal are going to win the Champions League this season.
Absolutely not. But I don't want them having it either.
The only team I can see stopping Chelsea is Barcelona, like last season. If Barcelona get to the final, I'd back Barcelona to win. But if Barcelona fall out, something happens in the knockout rounds and they get done over 2 legs, then Chelsea's the next one on the rank. But yeah, I should say Barcelona are still the team to beat, and they are still an incredible outfit. And they've still got Kira Walsh. So, they are probably the team to beat. But I think out of the WSL teams, Chelsea's most likely to win it. I should say I back Manchester City to go out at the playoffs to Paris FC once again. And just that's my other flip.
They're coming for you. Manchester City. Paris FC is coming for you.
So
just on Champions League, I think if, say, you get to the group stage and Arsenal end up playing Barcelona on group stage.
Oh God.
And then say get through again and then get Lyon. Imagine if you beat Barcelona at home or something like that. That then seals you to go through. Then to face Lyon, that could be the confidence growing. I know, Lottie, you're sitting there like, no, don't say this now. I am touching wood, by the way. But I think sometimes the best teams don't win it, and it'll be nice to someone to take it off Lyon and Barcelona this time around.
Well, obviously you don't want it to be Chelsea.
Oh, no, I don't think Chelsea would. I think Chelsea will somehow explode the wrong direction.
Can we just address the elephant in the room here? None of us have picked Arsenal to win the league. Lottie, why? We are an Arsenal podcast. Why are we not backing our own horse?
No, it's more of a case we've had 2 sideways seasons, and I'll be honest with you, he doesn't get his decisions right.
Mm.
And it does frustrate me at times. We sit there and question things, and he knows when he doesn't get it right.
Mm.
And we're all sitting there thinking, you've not got this right, fix it. And he doesn't do anything about it. So this is a make or break season because Mikel Arteta has just announced his contract signing. The last couple of years, they've done it together.
Mm.
Where is his contract?
Well,
I think the club are actually reviewing this.
Well, he did it separate, didn't he, last season? So he was. Well,
but season before that, they did it together.
They did,
so
they did.
It's.
I know.
Yeah.
I look at Arsenal. I have not. The problem is I've not seen anything in the last 2 seasons to suggest that Arsenal could win the league. But in Jonas' first season, I saw enough to think we could. So if we can get back to that first season, Jonas, I think yes, we've got a chance. But it's because of what's happened. It's can we shake off what's happened the last 2 seasons? And again, as I've said before, the excuses have run out. Matt, any from your end, any cause for hope for Arsenal? How can we win the league?
I do love Jonas. I always think he's been a bit of a fresh air for the league. But as Lottie's mentioned, there are moments where he does the wrong thing. I mean, I think we can all point to seasons gone by where moments where it hasn't gone to plan, and or games where you've gone too attacking and that's left you vulnerable at the back. I mean, just say Chloe Lacasse last season making that last ditch slide tackle.
Yeah, when Marnie was in goal, out of goal.
That's all we need to know.
Just
Spurs away. That is all we need to know.
I'll stick on this. Yeah.
All about those moments. If he can get those right moments correct and go right, okay, I've made 2 attacking changes. I might need to make a defensive change to balance it out again, and go from there. I think that will be a little bit helpful this season. But it's going to be all about how he adapts to those moments where it's going against you and you're up against a brick wall in that low block, say against Leicester. I don't think a lot of teams are going to be in that low block anymore with the attacking players that they've now got. Looking at Villa, for example, you could probably say Leicester as well might not sit back as much as they did last season. A lot of these teams aren't going to just sit there and just wait for you to break them down. They're going to go and attack you.
Well, as long as we can get a win when we go to Dagenham, I'll be happy with that. I mean, on this day in 2020, we beat West Ham United 9-1 in Dagenham. And then since then, I think we've had 1 win since, which I think you were there for, Matt, actually. I think it was last day of the season. Yeah.
Last day of the season. And it came from Steph Catley and Steiner to score in the second half. And by that time, it was too late.
Yeah. Sticking with Jonas, I'll bring this up the agenda. So this is full season. I'm going to his full season since we had Laura Harvey in charge, who obviously won 2 back-to-back WSLs. Joe Montemurro, by comparison, only got 3.5 seasons because he came in halfway through the 17-18 season and then got 3 full seasons. Won the league in one of them. Pedro got 2 full seasons, 2 half seasons, and the WSL Spring Series, WSL Series, which was sort of the 16-17 season, but was like a special half season to flip the calendar. He never came close to winning the league, and also, but he did win the FA Cup and the League Cup. And Shelley Kerr got 1.5 seasons. We don't like to talk about that particular one. So thoughts so far, but do you see Jonas completing his 4th season in charge? Do you think he'll get to the end of the season, or do you think he'll be gone by Christmas? Matt?
I think it's about how the results go. I think the lessons are at the moment get to the Champions League group stages first. Otherwise, that might be, for a lot of fans, it will be the nail in the coffin.
So just if we go out to Häcken, does Jonas get sacked?
I don't think so. No, I think they'll hold off, and they'll hold off to see what happens against City. I think the City and if it's Leicester, the first away game, it might be a case of he has the first 5 games, see where the team is, and then they make that decision. But even then, have they got someone lined up and ready? There is one player manager former player, should I say, that I would be interested to see if she'd be willing to come back.
Stoney?
Yes. She did really well in her for both teams that she has managed so far. It'd be interesting to see if she can go that extra step, because she was close to doing some really good stuff with both sides, and just for whatever reason it didn't work out.
Should just say, actually, in terms of those two big games, we've got Manchester City at home and Chelsea at home in Emirates Stadium, the first 2 games of the season. Jonas's record so far in his last 3 seasons at home to Chelsea and Manchester City, he's got 16 out of 18 possible points in those games. So you think going into those games, that should be his comfort zone. Lottie, Jonas, do you think he will last season? Do you think he'll even stay beyond this season if it goes well enough? Do you think he could stay around, or do you think it's time for a fresh approach going into next season?
It's a make or break season for me. Fans are already not happy. We lose the Champions League. A lot of them that'll be the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and
then some will just kind of lose their rag if we don't win anything this season.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way it's going to go at the moment. He's just got to play a very careful game of chess for the season, I think.
Yeah.
That's the best analogy I can come up with.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
If you can have a strong enough start to the season, give him some momentum to take through to Christmas, I think he'll be fine. But I think back to the Pedro's last season at Arsenal, he had a bit of a rubbish win over Birmingham. He got trounced at Manchester City and then made a rubbish 1-1 draw at home to Bristol, and after that he was gone, and it was sort of like you could tell the writing was on the wall. If we have a very sort of lame, tepid start to the season, don't get anywhere, drop stupid points all over the shop, then it's clear that the magic has run out. My feeling is he will last the season, but I also feel that this will be his last season at Arsenal. I think I think next season a new manager will come in, but we'll wait and see. Just going to go over to some other bits of the season. So shout for the Golden Boot. Who are you going for, Matt?
Put us all on the spot.
Best kind of questions.
You know what? I'm going to go for someone a bit different this year. I think it will be Lauren James.
Ooh. Lottie?
I'm going to go... Yeah, I'm going to go for the easy option. Bunny Shaw. There's just no one else to choose. Yeah.
Right.
There is no one to choose. Goal machine.
Neither of you gone for Vivian Miedemar, which is interesting. I'm going for Alessia Russo. I'm going Alessia Russo, Golden Boot. This is the season where she fulfills her potential. We'll just go. We'll go through the Premier League table as a whole, because WSL table used to be called the Premier League actually back in the day before it became a WSL. So WSL table predictions. I'll just reel off mine. Manchester City I predict is going to win. I think Arsenal second, Chelsea third, Brighton fourth, Liverpool fifth, Manchester United sixth, Villa seventh, Spurs eighth, Everton 9th, Leicester City 10th, West Ham United 11th, and Crystal Palace, I'm predicting them to go straight back down again. Lottie, what's your prediction?
Okay, this is going to be interesting. So I got City, I got Arsenal, I got Liverpool, Chelsea, Aston Villa, United, Brighton, Spurs, Leicester City, Everton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham.
I like the difference there. I'm liking Chelsea dropping out of the top 3. That's a heck of a shout. I like it.
Yeah, do you know what it was? I've looked at how Liverpool have been doing their pre-season and how they've recruited, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's cooking. They're cooking something up there, and they're going to be the ones to watch this season.
Liverpool, I think a lot of people are. We talk about surprise of the season. I mean, Liverpool surprised all last season. I think they overdid themselves, but
on the XG.
Yeah, over XG, that sort of stuff. They did it better than I think most people expected. A bit like Villa the season before. The problem I have with Liverpool is you always get that rebound, and I'd like to think, they're going to be the ones that are going to break in, but I don't know. I just think Brighton, with the recruitment they've done, if it clicks, they're going to be the one punching above their weight. Matt, what's your league table shout?
So I've gone City, Arsenal, Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Brighton, Leicester, Everton, Tottenham, Palace, then West Ham. You
gone for, who's it third? Villa. You gone for Villa?
Yes.
Third? Wow.
I think it will be because they've got players that they've brought in, but they've brought in players that know the league very well. Sabrina, for example. So it's not like DVDs have to come in, adapt to a new league straight away. They can just kick on, and it's going to be she knows what she's doing straight away. It's not about adapting once again. It's only adapting to a Midlands accent, for example.
I can't wait for these predictions to be torn to shreds within the first 5 games of the season. We all predicted last season that Villa were going to be the ones that would break into the top order, and they lost their first 3 or 4 games of the season.
I cursed Villa. So God help any team who gets called a Champions League spot who isn't Arsenal.
I like the idea of another team muscling into a top 3. We had that with Manchester United a few seasons ago. Obviously, it didn't go so well for them when they actually got there, and we're straight back out again. But I think it's nice to have a freshness of team options there. Hopefully, we're not the team that has to suffer because of that. Just touching on.
Sorry, Adam. Just quickly, I don't like the idea of this top 4 because they keep saying Man United are part of this top teams, and how are you a top team when you finished 5th last season? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
to me.
They finally got some silverware.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're in top flight football, so they can now be counted. That we've lost so much. A specific section of our fan base have lost gloating rights. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
that's it.
I do find it interesting. We've obviously Manchester United did win silver. They won the FA Cup and won it quite convincingly. But we haven't backed them at all to make any progress in the league at all.
Oh no, absolutely not. But the thing is, what holds more weight, the FA Cup or the Conti Cup?
Well, League Cup obviously. No, FA Cup obviously does.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah. Speaking of
silverware, there's nothing to turn your nose up at.
Speaking of the cup competition, I'm just going to quickly run through them. So, League Cup. Do Arsenal win it again for a 3rd season in a row? Lottie?
Yes.
Matt?
If history serves me right, no team has actually won it for a 3rd season in a row. So I'm going to say no.
I don't think so. I think Arsenal won it. No, I think the Arsenal have. I think they won it 11. The first 3 at least they won. 11, 12 and 13. And then Manchester City won it in 2014. And then obviously the Vance of power shift.
Yes, again, I'm going through memory, so I haven't got the notes in front of me.
I think 3 in a row is too much to hope for, and I think Arsenal won't make the final. I think that everything along the way, and I don't. Yeah, that happens. I thought we were good value for the first one, and then the second one last season. I should say first one in a long time rather, but the second one we won last season, I thought we were a bit lucky in the end. It went obviously went extra time and we sort of scraped it, but I was convinced that was the one we were going to lose. So I think 3 in a row is probably too much to ask. FA Cup, yes or no, Lottie?
No.
No, Matt?
I'm going to say yes. I want a day at Wembley.
Yes, I'm going to say yes, the FA Cup as well. If we don't draw Manchester City or Chelsea in like the second round, but the second round we play in, which always seems to happen. If we can actually get a bit of a run in the competition, then I think we could be right. That being said, if we can actually beat Chelsea,
I think we'd be all right this season because we look at that bench and it's scary. We've got the depth, and it's just how he puts his chess pieces together.
And it's if they stay fit as well. It's if they stay fit as well, obviously, and then are in form, we should be able to do it. So I'm backing us for an FA Cup run to at least the final. Hopefully we win it. We need that because we won the FA Cup since 2016. That needs to change. I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward one. But the Champions League, are Arsenal going to win a second Champions League / European title? Matt, is it coming home again?
I'd love to say yes, but no. Again, I've mentioned that. I think as long as someone beats Lyon and Barcelona, I think people will be happy. Yeah. As long as it's not a certain blue team in London.
Yeah, absolutely. Lottie, can you make a case for some European success coming to North London? No. I can't either.
No, I'm sorry, but no.
I back. We should say it was the last. Obviously, we said it many times. The last way the Champions League is in this format is changing next season. So it was last sort of group stage knockout. Well, the way it's on at the moment, I back us if we get past BK Häcken. If it gets to the group stage, I back us to get out the group. I don't back us to get progress deep into for the knockout rounds.
My heart says yes, we will win it again, but logically it says no. So I'm looking at least the semi-finals logically, because we can get there. It's just getting past that point. So
I mean, a semi-final run is a pretty good run in Europe. I think we'd be quite happy with
It
that.
is.
Wouldn't
It
we?
also attracts the fans. I mean, our semi-finals, not
that
last season,
semi-final.
season before. It was unbelievable. I mean, apart from my favourite moment, which everyone knows about.
Yeah.
It's just you look around that ground and you think the last time we played, say, Barcelona, I think it was a group stage. It was only the East Stand that was half full. There's about 5,000 people, and then you look at the numbers for a semi-final and the quarter-final. It was just unbelievable.
You mentioned a good point about attendances, and I know we get lambasted with the whole attendance trophy nonsense. I did watch something that came up on the social media, and it's something I've been thinking about as well. So I wanted to throw it to you. Obviously, the last 2 seasons, the Lionesses have played in major tournaments. They've got to the final and winning one, obviously, with the Euros. This summer, that hasn't happened. The Lionesses haven't been the big sort of feature on our screens in major tournaments. Do you think that's going to have any impact on the attendances at the start of the season? Because obviously having that, like the Euros, meant we got big attendance for the Spurs game because everyone was interested. Do you think the interest has retained enough that we'll get strong attendance going into, say, Manchester City and Everton and Chelsea and so on, because more games are at Emirates Stadium now?
I think the attendances will be still up there. I think they're going to be high anyway, because we've got that Lioness factor, but you've also got the other factor of you've got the globalization of the WSL, the fact you've got Australians, you've got Dutch fans coming over every now and then. We've probably got even players coming over. You probably have got players coming over to watch even the Americans when they're over here to see Emily Fox and co. So I think the attendances will still be high. To be honest, I think the attendances will be higher than they were last season.
I do hope so. Obviously, we've got more games at Emirates Stadium, so that's more chances to break some more records. And
we say about breaking records and filling up the seats. Oh, look at us, we fill the stadium. What it's really about is inspiring like the younger generations. I've read Leah Volti's piece in the program, and she feels like she has a responsibility to the younger fans, and for me, it's more about the inspiration. You want these kids to grow up and say, I want to play football. Yeah. I want to be playing on this pitch. And that's how you grow the game and find your future talents.
We should also say, as important it is for our attendance to be great, it's important for the rest of the league to do the same.
It is.
Villa's doing it.
It. Manchester United's doing it.
They're not doing it properly.
I'd say Chelsea are now not really pulling their weight is Man City. They're only doing not Man City, Man United. They're only doing 3 games. No, it's not. Sorry, Liverpool doing 3 games at Anfield this season.
We could say the same thing about West Ham. I'm going to throw them under the bus until they do something. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
You're bringing all these players in, and you're not using your massive stadium. Come on.
We are sadly closing in towards the end of our preview, so I'm just going to quickly open the floor to Lottie and Matt. Are there any other teams you want in the league this season? You want to have maybe a quick shout out of any thoughts, or any discourse you wish to throw out there?
What, in terms of promotion?
No, any team that you think is something worth discussing, like Chelsea and their new manager, or Villa with the Brighton signings. Any of the, or Spurs? Are they going to get a trophy this season?
No.
Just on Everton, there is a bit of a worry defensively, and I think that's the worry, is that they haven't got, because of everything that's going on behind the scenes. Quick roundup, they're waiting for this takeover to happen. We don't know who it is going to be, and it could be before January, just before January, before they find out.
Gio Rord is back in training.
Oh, that's good to hear. From
just popped up on my screen. I've got like Twitter keeps suggesting for me to follow Man City women. I don't want to follow them.
No, that's good to hear that Rord's back. But you sorry, Matt, you were saying you think there's short at the back with
defensively Everton haven't recruited there, and because they haven't got the funding at the moment, just because they're waiting for takeover, and then that affects the funding and things like that for transfers. So it's become a bit of an issue for them. So hopefully that takeover happens, and I think January might be their saving grace, if I'm honest.
I think one team we have actually talked about most of the teams in our preview, but one team we've not talked about at all really is Leicester City. They are sort of in the void of discourse, and no one's really mentioned anything about them. I do wonder if they're just going to sort of exist in the league and not really do much, which is a shame really, because I'm quite impressed by how big they've obviously gone big on trying to put games to King Power.
Haven't recruited this like awfully. I mean, they've got Ruby Mace come in for an undisclosed fee. They've even got Chantel Swaby. She plays for FC Fleury 91. I think she did. Now she's there, but she's come in, and then there's also Naomi. Is it Mouchon from Rams?
Yeah,
which I think will be very, very interesting. But they've also released a fair few players that have been sort of hanging around. For example, Josie Green, she's gone to Palace. Eileen Whelan has retired as well. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
And what you say, West Ham, I fully agree. I think Palace would go down, but I want West. I want West Ham relegated. So it's quite nasty. But the fact that the club, I feel like they've recruited a lot of big players in, but they just sort of put the handbrake on. They're not using the London Stadium at all.
Yeah, they've just taken is it Lee? Lee's. I've forgotten her name, from Brighton.
You know what? It is quite funny as well. Sorry, Lottie.
No worries.
Heyman was on the verge of signing, and then she got offered a contract by an Australian team. I can't remember the name of it. So she cancelled the trial. So she decided to stay on with her Australian team instead, because I don't know if those that didn't know, but she did an interview afterwards just to say her only contract was until January, so she wouldn't have been available to play back in Australia.
I think one exciting exit for me is Sissoko. The fact that she's gone to Roma away from West Ham, I am so happy. Yeah, she's gone to Roma for free.
Oh dear.
I'm also kind of gutted for Risa Shimizu. She's moved to City and she's now ruptured her ACL.
Yes,
so
I saw that.
Speedy recovery. I am kind of gutted for her. She's moved to a top club, and that's the first thing that happens. It's a bit rubbish.
It is, and it's another one on the ACL bench, and there's too many of them in the ACL sick bay.
Actually, can I pick your guys' brains on while we're speaking West Ham? Mackenzie Arnold, who's going to be their new number one? Who's going to replace her? Because she's the one who kept them up.
Yeah, no, she was.
Why they brought? Who did they bring in? Did they bring on the Reims goalkeeper? No, they didn't.
I don't know. I haven't really followed the West Ham sort of team. The first time I'll know who's in the sticks is when we go to opening day. But
I'm only asking because she's gone to my team in the US. So
I think Arsenal fans are glad that she's gone, because she always had worldly games whenever we played at West Ham away. It was the game when she came to life. So maybe now we have a chance to win again at Dagenham. Last question before we wrap up, and we're going to look a bit further down the league, and that is the Championship. It looks like it's bigger and better this time around. We've got its own YouTube channel now, so you can watch all their games on YouTube. There was a game, Newcastle United versus London City Lionesses, finished 1-1. Aslani got a very good goal for the Lionesses in the first half as part of the draw. So, who is your pick to go up and join us in the WSL next season? Matt, I know you've always got half an hour on the Championship, so I'm going to pick you first.
I think it's going to be a very tight one this season, if I'm honest. Last season,
it was tight last season.
Well, yeah. You could have picked 6 teams to go up, and only 4. In the end, it was about between 3 or 4 teams. I feel a bit selfish, really, if I say Southampton, because the other both of you have got an eye on another team. I just think new manager. With Remy Allen, she's got some WSL experience. I think she's going to do wonders with them, and I think she can do it. The only thing is they haven't got that WSL experience as much as certain other teams do, or international experience as other teams in the league. But I do love a bit of a surprise, and so very steady.
Absolutely. Lottie, who is your pick to go up?
Do you know what? I was going to go for a cop out and go Newcastle, so I could get a Newcastle away day. But you know what? I'm going to go with Charlton Athletic.
Yes!
Those away days are the ones I want. I haven't been down there in so long. I've been, every time there's a cup opportunity, that's the team I pick, and we don't get them, and it annoys the hell out of me. They've won their first game with a +3 goal difference. I did look that up before the show. But yeah, no, it's Charlton Athletic for me all the way.
I mean, Charlton Athletic are women's football heritage. I mean, sadly, when the men's league got relegated, the women's team I think not, I don't know if it was dissolved or they had to drop down the leagues. The funding was cut, but they played in a lot of like FA Cup finals with Arsenal and League Cup finals. They won the FA Cup. They won the League Cup final against Arsenal. A lot of famous WSL players, the likes of Casey Stoney, the likes of Luco played for Charlton Athletic. Russo came through their Academy of Excellence, and of course, they are partly a local side to me. I'd love to see Charlton back in the top flight. I really, really would, but I don't think they're going to go up this season, sadly. And they were close last season. I think this time around, you mentioned Newcastle United, bigger teams with bigger money are coming into the Championship now. That originally it was investing with WSL teams. Now the Championship sides are getting that investment. And Michelle Kang's obviously come over and gone big on the Lottie and Lionesses. They're quite a unique team because they severed themselves from Millwall Lionesses. They're an independent women's football team. They've signed.
Be linked to Millwall anyway. They're nuts.
Yeah, I know, but they've signed Aslani. They've just now signed, I think, Sophia Jakobsen as well. She's now joined the club, and they're my pick to go up this season. That I think
Okay.
London.
I'm surprised you didn't mention one of our own down there.
Which one? Oh yes, of course. Tay Goldie, obviously, but we mentioned her only in the pod, so that was,
But is she going to get the minutes? I hope she does.
I think she will. I was going to say with the loans signing, we say Tay Goldie, playing at a very ambitious club with very competitive team. There's a lot of talent in there now. That's going to do her well. And again, with Michelle Adjumang, playing at Brighton, high aspirations, very competitive team. I think our loan signings are going to do a lot better at the clubs right now than say, and no offense meant by Watford. I don't think Watford was the best loan for a lot of them last season, but very excited for London City Lionesses. And if again, it's the case, if they all gel, these new signings work. I do wonder though, if the likes of Aslani and Jakobsen playing at London City Lionesses and they don't get promoted, how keen are they going to be to stick around in the Championship? But this whole new setup with the YouTube channel showing a lot of these games, and obviously games for free coverage. I've said before, it's a badly undercovered league, and it's great to see that it's getting a bit of light shone in it now. So yes, we'll look forward to seeing who does make it out of the Championship, because there's one that has come up, Crystal Palace. Very excited to see how they do. I've predicted them to go down, but it'd be nice to see them stick around, because it's always nice to see a promoted side get a few runs at the league. And I think an away day to the Palace is going to be a lot of fun. But that's it. That's the end of our preview. So that's it. It's all been sorted out. We've got it all worked out, written down. We know who's going to win. We know who's going to get relegated. We know who's going to win the Golden Boot. And so there's no point tuning in now for the rest of the league. It's all sorted. So that's, in that rate, it's probably going to be our last podcast as well. It's all sorted. But if you do want to stick around and watch future ones, do give our YouTube channel a subscribe, and do give our Twitter account at VAW Pod.
Yeah, and we're also on Instagram.
Yeah. We are as well, so do give us a follow, and do obviously leave a like and a comment and a subscribe. It's very much appreciated. But it's time to wrap up, so just time for me to say goodbye to my co-conspirators. Lottie, where can we find you when we're not watching you on the pod?
You can find me at Lottie_AWT on Twitter and Instagram, or you can find me on the VAW pod page on Instagram.
Absolutely. And Matt, where can we find you?
You can find me at MattLR28.
And if you are enjoying my mad ramblings on here, then you can find more of them at AdamSalter4 on Twitter/X. You can find them at Adam_Salter4 on Threads. And if you want to watch some old women's football games of old of the Arsenal women, you can find them at VAW Archive. Thank you very much for everybody joining in, listening in, watching in, and looking forward to the new season. I think it's going to be an absolute stonker, and hopefully it is Arsenal who reign supreme. Come on, you Gunners.